What's up, family? Welcome back to the Good News Network. It's your boy Mike, and I know I'm a little bit off schedule with this video, but I wanted to bring y'all some more of that good news. So y'all ready? Let's get it. So I wanted to start this video off a little bit different than I usually do by sharing with you guys how I got the inspiration for the topic of this video. So for the past couple of weeks, I've been taking some major steps in accomplishing some of the goals that I set for myself at the beginning of this year. One of those goals being starting this very YouTube channel. However, as I'm sure you're aware, when you're in the process of progression, there's a couple of things that stand in the way that are kind of beyond your control. And when there's very little that you can do outside of what you've already been doing to progress, it can be a little frustrating. And that's where I was. I felt stuck. It was the feeling of stagnation. And so naturally, I took it to God in prayer. I prayed over and over. I pleaded my case over and over. I prayed and waited. Prayed and waited, prayed and waited, thought of a new way to say it, said it that way, prayed it that way, waited some more, yet not much change. So then I became a little impatient and began to ask questions that we often ask ourselves when we're not really sure what's going on in our lives. The questions like, is God ignoring me? Am I asking for the wrong things? Am I ignoring or missing a sign that he's sending me? And then in the midst of those thoughts, it's like a bell went off in my head. It said, Michael, God's not ignoring you. You're not asking for the wrong things, and he hasn't sent you too many signs for you to have missed. You're just being impatient. It said, Michael, look at all the prayers that have been answered, all the grace and the mercy that have been shown, when you deserve nothing more than to be cut off and separated in the first place. Yet you get impatient and you get upset when he doesn't answer your prayer for more. You don't even stop to be content and realize everything else that he's already blessed you with. And immediately the phrase from Philippians chapter 4 verse 6, come to God in thanksgiving, rang in my head. Family, I thought it was imperative to focus the topic of this video on gratitude. As I stated before, come to God in thanksgiving. From Philippians chapter 4 verse 6, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition and with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. Paul said in every situation. You see, it's easy to be grateful. It's easy to have a smile on our face when we feel as if our prayers are being answered immediately, when we're getting what we want, what we see, what we feel we need. But what about when God has you in a season of patience? What about when you feel like you're not being heard, like your prayers aren't being answered? It's good to let God know of the blessings that he's already provided. But every situation includes the seasons that are tough. It includes the depressing seasons. But how are we supposed to be thankful and show gratitude in the midst of so much pain? How are we supposed to be happy when the very thing that we've been praying for is being denied? Family, what I've learned is that what we often take for granted are God's biggest blessings. The fact that we have family and friends, the fact that we have food in our kitchens or a roof over our head, the fact that we're healthy and woke up this morning, or better yet, the fact that we have a God who loves us so much that he was willing to die for us to have the opportunity to get to know him. That should be enough. That should be enough for us to remain content and patient as he reveals slowly his plans for our lives. And while we practice patience, we should also be practicing gratitude for the small things. As Luke said in chapter 16 verse 10, whoever can be trusted with very little can be trusted with a lot. But whoever is dishonest with little will also be dishonest with a lot. We have that opportunity now, family, to show God our gratitude by using some of our daily prayers not to ask for anything, not for ourselves and not even for others. Just to simply take that time to say, God, thank you. Thank you for everything that you blessed me with. Thank you for the things that I take for granted. There's too much to even name, but I realize your hand in my everyday life. Before I wrap up, I wanted to share with you guys something that I learned maybe a week and a half ago and been putting into practice ever since then. It's called gratitude practice. When I was taught it, the guy said to write down everything that you were thankful for in that day. I do it a little bit differently. As I get into bed at night after my last prayer, after, I realize that, it's the end of my day, I'm about to go to sleep. And as I'm closing my eyes, I just begin at the beginning of my day, from waking up in the morning to that very moment that I'm talking to God. And I just go through a list of everything in that day that I'm so thankful for happened. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be some elaborate prayer. Actually, most often, I'm thanking Him for the very, very little things that help that day be just a little bit better. Things like a nice haircut. Things like talking to a friend who uplifted my spirit. Things like running that red light and there were no cops around to pull me over. Anything that just helped that day be a little bit better. Just showing gratitude for those things that I would usually overlook. And what I found is when I end my day on a high note, it's much easier the next day to be more vigilant and more aware of everything that I have to be grateful for. And so I'm hoping that that can help you, and I'm hoping that you put that into practice as well, so you can start to see a shift and a change in your life. As always, family, God loves you and so do I. Until next time, peace out.